Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Leveraging LinkedIn series. This is session one, where I'll be talking about how to set up your profile and getting into some of the intricacies involving that. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. It's easiest if we just look directly at LinkedIn. So if you haven't set up a profile at all yet, you need to go to linkedin.com and register and get that going. It's a pretty simple sign up. You'll want to connect an email account, and whether you use your UW Superior one or a personal one, that's up to you. Just keep in mind that eventually your UW Superior account does go away. So that can be an important consideration. Excuse me. So, as far as setting up your profile goes, the easiest way to find your profile is this me icon that's here. And then if you click on view profile, it takes you to exactly this page that I'm on. Um, some important things to think about your photo, and which is a profile photo right here, and your background photo are really important pieces. In fact, I would say that your profile photo right here is a really crucial piece because it makes you legitimate. A lot of times, LinkedIn profiles that don't have photos, people won't accept them. They won't connect with them. So that's an important piece to remember. I would say too with this photo, you're looking at more of a headshot kind of a deal. It shouldn't be your whole body or anything like that. It should be pretty professional. Think about like what would you wear to an interview or to a networking event. I also suggest that you edit it before you upload it, just because the editing tools in LinkedIn are not the best. Um, you have a lot more options outside of the edit tool in other applications. You also are not allowed to upload logos to this profile picture right here. It won't let you. You could put a logo in the back, but they won't allow you to do it in the profile picture. As for the background picture, which is literally what's behind your profile picture, this is important for your branding. So maybe this is a piece that shows you in action. Maybe it's a piece that illustrates something you do, for instance. So if you're some sort of an artist or a musician, maybe that's what's back there. But just keep in mind this needs to be a wider image, so it needs to be able to cover that scale in it. And it says in there when you go into edit what size it needs to be. And then watch for interference with your profile picture. So if there's something kind of crucial over here on the left hand side and you know that your profile picture is going to cover it, you might want to reconsider or see if you can flip it or something like that, or arrange it so that it doesn't have interference. The other piece about interference is make sure there's not like a tree or a sign or something sticking so it looks like it's sticking out of your head. That could be problematic. The next thing I will say is if we'll just go through this section right here. So I click on this blue, I guess it's kind of black looking, but whatever, this edit pencil here. This is where you edit that first block. So I could put my first and last name there. I could also put my middle initial if I really wanted to after my first name. You can add a former name or a maiden name. If you are using the mobile app, you can also do the name pronunciation, which is a really good option for people who have harder to pronounce name or a name that people often mispronounce. Um, as far as the headline, the headline, literally, you can think about this as your elevator pitch in 230 characters or less. So it's kind of like a tweet in that way. Um, it's really important because, like your picture, it can really be one of the most crucial pieces of social media you have out there. It's a quick snapshot of maybe who you are and what you want to do. It is should be telling people what defines you and who you are, or how can you be a game changer in your field. You really want to avoid the student at or seeking. It's not necessarily an objective. You're really trying to use this as an elevator pitch or a piece of branding. It will ask what you want to put out for your first or for your current position. So I can choose that from my experiences. I can add positions here. I can choose whether or not to show my education, and then I can choose which education I want to show. So I have degrees from 3 different universities. I just chose my most recent because it's my master's degree. And then you can add this other information here if you want. Um, and then for contact info here, you can decide what you want to put in here, um, but you got to keep it updated. So, for instance, if you put something like contact me through my blog, but you haven't updated your blog in 5 years, that's not a great idea. Um, really think carefully about if you want to put your email or your phone number in this section. Keep in mind when you have a LinkedIn profile, people can message you via LinkedIn, just like they can message you on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all of those. Okay, so just really take some time and think about that. And then, of course, you want to hit the save button, and it takes you right back into your profile section. So now a couple things here before I head off into another kind of area. This open to that you see here, um, hiring, finding a new job, that's also sort of what you see here. So I want you to think about this carefully. Um, you these are both really great responses to COVID and the pressures it's put on the marketplace right now, and that's okay. Um, but you want to be really careful about what you have listed in your profile and so on and so forth. I would say, as far as showing recruiters you're open to work, you control who sees that, and we'll look at that in the settings. I don't know. I don't necessarily like LinkedIn's new open to work thing because it seems slightly desperate to me. But there's a setting that you can change that lets people know that you are, open and willing to recruitment. And I think I like that piece a little bit better. And that's sort of the feeling that I'm getting too from recruiters is they would rather see that setting turned on. So here's what I'm talking about. If I go to, hold on, it is up here, edit public profile and URL. There are a number of things here that you need to think about. The first is that you really should consider editing your custom URL. So I can click the pencil by that. It's easiest if you can get your something like your first and last name in there. Maybe there's a number or something like that. And the reason this piece is important is because you might be dealing in a paper resume or a paper business card or something like that, or somebody's got a copy of something where they can't directly click on your LinkedIn URL. And so it makes it really easy to type in if you edit this and make it custom. Otherwise it's some like weird robot name that it's going to take them forever to get it typed in. So go ahead and edit that. It's really important. And then, of course, save it. If I hit this edit contents piece, it just kicks me back over into this portion of editing. So that's what that does. We're not going to click on that right now. This edit visibility piece is really important. There are a ton of settings in here, and you can read through this, but you can also learn more. But once you get your profile kind of up to date and you're feeling pretty good about it, you probably do want to turn this on, um, because it's letting people see it, right? They're going to force you to have your name, number of connections, and regions showing. But otherwise, you can decide only the people for profile photo, who exactly sees that. Is it everybody? Um, that's just a decision you have to make. So I've decided that public is fine. I am, part of a greater network as part of what I do for work, and I work at a public university. So I figure they can find my name by Googling it, and I'll show up on the UWS website. I might as well be, searchable otherwise. So also, you can decide, what else gets shown as far as all of these different things that we'll talk about. Um, I have mine turned on. Again, nothing to hide. I have a pretty public profile anyway because of what I do. I also wanted to point out this piece right here, create a badge. If you have any sort of a website or like an electronic portfolio, here's what this is. I'm going to go in here. And this is kind of a plug-in um, app thing. You can go into the site where you want to put this and you can copy the code. You can choose a badge option from what you see here. And then from these options, and then you just add it in. And it tells you what code to add. So it should be pretty simple. I think they look pretty nice. Great way to get your LinkedIn profile added to your page rather nicely. Um, let's see. I'm going to go back over now. Sorry, I keep moving windows around here. Back over to this side. This is the wrong screen. There is this about section that's right here. This is the old summary. It used to be called summary on LinkedIn. And what's really important is everything you see before this see more right here. So you can tell, you can expand this and you can get kind of my story. Um, but what's really crucial is what comes before that piece, that see more piece. Let's see if I can get back here. Oh, I'll stop sharing. too many windows. There you go. Okay. Well, I can't get back right now without it doing all sorts of crazy things, but you may wish to put more here than what is visible before the see more, but just make sure that you've got your crucial pieces listed before that. Again, think of it much like the headline up here, where it's your critical piece of branding. I'm going to keep going down here. In the featured section, you can showcase your work. Maybe you wrote an article, or you have some part of a business plan, or some media or websites, or your profile, or anything you want to add here, you can add in. I just recently took an article off that I wrote quite a while ago. It's just kind of old, and I'd like to update it, so I'll get that updated and put it up at some point. Um, so feel free to put things there. Those are all great places to showcase your work. As far as your dashboard goes, this is something you can't really um, alter too much. It just shows, some insights, I guess. The salary insights. You can see how your salary compares to other people. Um, Take this with a grain of salt, though. Please use things like ONET Online and Occupational Outlook Handbook. Those are based off of taxes. This is self-reported, so there is some room for error there. And then, of course, if you're saving jobs that you want to apply to LinkedIn courses or articles, they'll all show up here in the My Items piece on the dashboard. So let's see. Oh, the other piece I wanted to add about featured, sorry, I forgot that up here, is that you could add your resume here, but I really want you to think about that name block. So maybe you might want to take your address, your phone, and your email off of there. It also may be better to have it as a Google Docs link. Um, those are just some things that may be best practices. And the way you add is just click this add featured here for the featured section. So sorry about going back there. There are more settings that are pretty important here. So if I go to the me icon and I go past, so I keep going down, settings and privacy here. I also want to note just really quickly, the help section is fantastic, but so is a search engine. There are lots of videos and such out there about getting help in LinkedIn, and the help section here is really great. So now, if I go into this page, there's a ton of stuff here that you can change, add to. I mean, it just kind of goes on and on and on. The important pieces here, if you go into visibility of LinkedIn activity. Let's see, this is probably right here. Who can see? We want to go to this one right here. Oh wait. Um, oh goodness, I just lost it. I'm looking for visibility of LinkedIn activity, which is what I'm in, and then share profile updates with your network right here. You want to set this at no, and this is really, really crucial because if I make a connection with someone, and let's say that they're like the HR recruiter for, somebody that I really want to work for, and I have this set to yes, then every time I make a change to my profile, they will get a notification. That could quickly get annoying, just so you know. And recruiters and employers tend not to like that. Okay, so change this to no if it isn't already defaulted. So you can go in and look at all these, and I highly encourage you to do so, just like you do in that other settings menu. I will go back out to my profile. Sometimes it's hard to sort of navigate between all the windows and such that it takes you to. Um, so just be patient with that. Uh, LinkedIn automatically records my activity so people can see um, what I've been doing on LinkedIn. They can tell, like, am I active? Am I sharing things? Am I commenting on things? Am I liking things? And all those sorts of activities. So that's important that you show that you're active. As far as your experience goes, um, I highly recommend that you don't leave your experience blank. Okay, so some students will start their profile and they'll say, well, I don't really have much to put in here. And you probably do, but it might need to be a class project or something like that. The reason that I don't want you to leave this blank is because this is highly searchable, just like the taglines and the about sections are. And so you want to get good stuff in here. Um, when you do these, I just learned that LinkedIn now will allow you to do bullets. So that is a good thing to have instead of blocks of text. So I need to change this. So use bullets, not blocks of text. Make sure when you are searching these, uh, I guess you'd call them employers. Right now, they're schools for me because that's what I do. But when you're searching these, make sure you get the company or the employer page and not like employee group or um, I guess it could be, any other kind. Just make sure it's an employer page. And it will say that when you search up here in the search bar. Um, let's see. I guess that's the same thing with the education section. Um, when you come down to your education section, I just have to make sure that it's, Minnesota State University, Moorhead, the college or the university, and not like their LinkedIn alumni group or their athletics page or something like that. So you will want to put your education in. You don't need to list your high school. I would list any place where you have a degree or you have kind of a good number of credits from that institution. And notice that it allows you to put activities in under each educational place. And you can edit all of those from these kind of icons, buttons off to the right. Go ahead and add your volunteer experience in. Do the best you can here. Again, the icons off to the right allow you to add those. Skills and endorsements. This is a really interesting area. So one of the first things you see here is that you can add a new skill right here. You can edit here. You can take a skill quiz. Now, I'm a little honestly up in the air about the skill quiz. If you have the time to do these, they somewhat verify it, but honestly, I think it's more important that you get endorsements from others about these things. Um, so again, that's a grain of salt piece. So just consider, do you want to take the time to take the quizzes, or do you want to rely on endorsements? So I have a bunch of skills listed here. Um, I did pin these top three, and the way to do that, so you can see a bunch of these here. The way to do that, I believe, is going to edit, and I'm able to pin those skills. So I can go down and I could say, oh, I want to switch out maybe environmental education and program development in there. And then I can click save, or I can completely delete it. Right. So that's one way to do that. So you can kind of pin those top three again. That's searchable. The whole thing um, about endorsements is, you can ask people to endorse you. You can ask, professors, coaches, whomever. I also, have no problem if you want to, connect with me if I've worked with you on, resume review or something like that. If I can help you with endorsements, I'm happy to do so. What you're really looking for though is someone who um, is really skilled at this. So, like for instance, you see Ed Heisler here. He's the director for Menace Peacemaker and Menace Peacemakers in Duluth, and he is known in the region for his community outreach. So for him to endorse me means that you know it means something. It means that I've definitely got that skill. So that's skills and endorsements, and that's something that is probably easiest to chat one on one. But then you can see industrial knowledge, um, tools and tech, interpersonal skills, other skills. So it sort of sorts that out for you. As far as recommendations go, you can um, ask for recommendations. And once you get one, you can revise. Now, I haven't asked for any recommendations. That's not sort of where I'm at or what I need LinkedIn for, to be honest. So that doesn't work for me, but it might look really great. It's sort of like having a letter of recommendation, right? So you can ask for a recommendation here. So that's here's what that looks like. Who do you want to ask? And I could type the person's name in. So I could ask my supervisor, and then it would click next, and then I can write a note. Okay, so I'm not going to go through with that because I don't want her to think that I need that from her. But as someone like with whom you may potentially connect, if you connect with me and I know you somewhat, you can ask me for recommendation. I've been known to give recommendations. So again, I keep those pretty short. Um, you can type in any accomplishments and things like that, awards, courses you've taken, stuff like that. Interests. So these are like this will actually pull for you. I don't believe you have the ability to edit it at all, but these pull from people you follow, groups you're in, um, or other pieces that might be in your profile. So, for instance, I used to work for the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, so they get pulled up here. And I think that is the main part of the profile, setting up your profile in LinkedIn. Um, it sort of gives you kind of a pie chart, I believe, still about how much you have completed. Do the best you can at getting your profile complete. Um, I think if you spent maybe an hour or two starting from scratch, you would have a really good setup. The other thing I would encourage you to do is spend 10 minutes a week looking at your profile and just making sure that things are up to date and that nothing's gotten out of date. I know for me, I use LinkedIn as a way to keep my resume and CV updated because I can really access LinkedIn from sort of anywhere in the world. So if I needed to develop a resume quickly, I could from my LinkedIn profile. So that's just another tip. So that concludes the leveraging LinkedIn session one on setting up the profile. Next week for leveraging LinkedIn, we will focus on networking and research. So that will include finding and making connections, using the alumni tool, and researching employers and companies. Thank you for being here today.